Good to log in now. Call this Finance Committee meeting to order for November 12th, 2024. I just talked with Mr. Hinkie. He will not be joining us tonight. So would you do a roll call vote? I want to call you Angie, but you're not Angie. All right, Melody.
Councilman Holtz.
Present.
President Dawson.
Present. Councilman Hinkie will not be with us. Would you please read proposed ordinance 24-0-45 by title, please?
Proposed ordinance 24-0-45, an ordinance appropriating $325,000 from the ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund to the provision of government services account to upgrade the audio system of the Common Council chambers and other improvements.
Council discussion?
Good evening, Council. Are there any questions that I can answer for you today?
Why don't you just kind of give us a brief overview of what we're talking about here?
Sure. We're looking to expand the current system by adding some new equipment that helps us remain vendor agnostic. It's going to increase some of the, some of the functionality that we've been missing and lacking since the COVID era when we first put the system in to try to help with some of the online meetings. It's going to address several ADA deficiency that we've had complaints on through the years, including some of the hearing aids and visually the smaller monitors that we have on the walls. We're looking to make those a little bit bigger. It's going to allow us to get extra cameras in here so that we can see the council and put names under those that are speaking so we can better engage with the audience and they know who's speaking without having to look at a transcript. And the biggest thing is automation. We're looking to do a automated mode and a manual mode. So some smaller commissions that maybe don't need the manpower, they can just kind of hit the easy button and let it go. But for some of the bigger events, we'll have an a manual mode where we can have the cameras and our IT department can man those. So it's a combination of things. It also helps us better prepare for the new legislation that got passed, House Bill 1167, on some of the retention of the meetings.
Thank you. Now, I'm sorry. You have any questions, Alex?
No, go ahead.
Now, when it comes to the aesthetics of the council chambers, how much will that change?
Not very much. Well, I take that back. The structure of the walls and the ceiling, not very much. We're already mounted and have power and everything on the walls, so those would just be bigger. As for the council tops themselves, we're looking to give you a cut-in so you can see right in front of you and you're not having to strain to look at the walls. And then we're proposing moving the IT personnel to the back of the room so we can better gauge the video and the flow of the meetings and the audio, especially when there's mic concerns.
Okay, now you understand that back corner or wherever you move that has the noise from the air conditioner that we just haven't been able to get rid of, so that won't affect you, will it?
No,
okay,
sir.
Okay.
No, it's just running from here to there. It doesn't affect any of the mics.
Okay.
It's just how we control
And
them.
as far as the seats in the council chambers, will those change? And the
Just-
carpeting and
Apologies. Just the back row here, we would have, basically it's a rollaway desk that's lockable to protect the equipment. And I would suspect that back bench and the first row of chairs would be removed.
okay. And I was thinking more of changing the chairs so they're everybody can fit in them. Sure. Because everybody can't fit in these chairs. So as we move forward with that, I just need to remind everybody that this is the council chambers, so the council wants to have input on those type of strategic things that it's going to make it more accessible for the public with regards to carpet and any cosmetic changes that need to be made that will deter from the beauty of the room. So
Absolutely. And we put that in the bid spec that the council and the administration have final say on those factors.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else? Thank you very much. Did you state your name?
Apologies. No, I did not. James Gerald, IT Director.
Thank you. Leave that for the record. Okay, I'll entertain a motion on this proposed ordinance.
I would like to motion that we pass this on to the city council with a do pass recommendation from the Finance
Motion, and I
Committee.
second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Passes 2-0. Would you please read proposed ordinance 24-0-46 by title, please?
Proposed ordinance 24-0-46, an ordinance appropriating $75,000 from the ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund to the provision of government services account to collaborate with the Elkhart Chamber of Commerce in the implementation of the Benham Neighborhood Plan.
Thank you. Mr. Huber.
Good evening, Council. Mike Huber, Development Services Director, City of Elkhart. This is really kind of a formality. We had $75,000 in ARP that I think we had inherited from my previous director or person who held my position. And it was set to help fund South Central Neighborhood Plan. As you all know, we were part of the Notre Dame Chamber charrette for the Benham neighborhood planning process. We didn't use the funds for the planning process. However, there will be an extensive implementation part of the process, and we're just asking to reappropriate those dollars from planning to implementation, and to be able to use the funds to be able to contract and partner with the chamber to get that done. As you know, the city staff has multiple projects that we're juggling right now. And particularly we own Woodland Crossing, and we're working through the redevelopment and build out of housing and new commercial in that space. We're managing a number of the redevelopment projects, both in South Main Street, but also in the River District and other parts of downtown. We've got projects happening across the city. I think for perspective of our staff, having the chamber in a position where they're actually kind of facilitating and coordinating a lot of the Benham stuff, they're making this a huge priority for their organization. We'll be at the table, we'll be partnered with them, we meet with them regularly. All of these things go together anyway. They can't do the things that we can do without us, so we're at the table, but having them be in that leadership position does kind of help us in terms of having our staff capacity be able to focus on the other priorities we have as well. So,
Thank you. Questions?
I assume we have to appropriate by a certain date. And is there also a spend by date, or how does that work with the ARP funds?
I believe it's still obligate spend by the end of next year. That's
Okay.
a Jamie question, but I think that's right.
Yeah.
Jamie, RC. You want to answer that question?
Sorry, Jamie, you're muted.
He did give the thumbs up, like my explanation was correct.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, Jamie, we got you.
Yep.
I had to be unmuted by the IT gods. And the guidance that we have regarding final use of the state local fiscal recovery funds is that they have to be obligated in a formal fashion, which is beyond just this appropriation, before the end of this year, and then spent for all intents and purposes by the end of 2026. There are certain circumstances that don't apply to us currently that have a 9/30/2026 deadline, but as of now, those provisions don't apply to us, and the obligations, especially in this case where we're dealing with the chamber, the obligation isn't for us to spend all $75,000 of the request by the end of this year. It is to have it formally obligated, and then we can spend it down between now and the end of the 26 if necessary.
Thank you. I appreciate that information.
Yep.
And we would anticipate spending it next year in the contract, so by 2025.
Yeah. And this will align across all of the additional ARP appropriations. So this is not unique to the one that Mike is speaking to currently.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yep.
Do you have anything else, Mike? Are you good? All right, I'll entertain a motion to send this on to the council.
So moved, pass it along, make a motion to pass this on to the council with a due pass recommendation.
And I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Would you read proposed ordinance 24-0-47 by title, please?
Proposed ordinance 24-0-47, an ordinance appropriating $157,000 from the ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund to the Negative Economic Impact Account to fund the collaboration with the Institute for Entrepreneurial Communities.
Thank you.
So this is actually a request to reappropriate. We had in ordinance 5883, we had requested and received approval for $900,000 towards a program called EMC Squared, which was an IEDC program. It was aimed at entrepreneurism and small business development. It was something that was a program that came out of our Thrive planning. I think Mike Higbee was pretty involved in it. The state underwent significant turnover in the leadership specifically around this program, multiple rounds of it since I started 2 years ago. Additionally, they had a working model in Indianapolis, and they were looking at opportunities to branch this out. As Ready 2.0 became the primary thrust of the IEDC, this program was de-emphasized at the state level, and we became aware through the process that there may not be the level of state support that was originally identified as being part of the incentive for the city to provide the $900,000 towards this. So at the same time, we've been somewhat engaged with a local group, locally managed group called the Institute for Entrepreneurial Communities. It's an Elkhart-based organization envisioned and advised by local civic leaders and successful entrepreneurs in Elkhart. Operations of the Institute are led by InFocus under the direction of Andrew Wyan, the president, and the Institute is led by a board of local advisors, including Liz Borger, Ryan Brady, Ashley Martin, Jack Smith Jr., and David Smith III. So these are local folks who are invested in helping Elkhart not just build on and understand its reputation as an entrepreneurial hub in the United States, but how do we leverage research and gather more information about other entrepreneurial hubs around the country, and how do we learn from that, and how do we understand how we can continue to reinvent ourselves and understand a number of facets, and a lot of the specifics to the research program are identified and outlined in the attached proposal. But this research by these world-class research institutes are really the main benefit that we feel the city's going to get out of our investment into this institute. They're going to look hard at what Elkhart has done and why Elkhart's special, but they're also going to research other communities. They're going to research the value of quality of place and quality of life and how that impacts entrepreneurism and entrepreneurial success. They're going to look at how other communities have had clusters grow, so that we hope to be able to use the research to understand and feel the benefits of the investments we're currently making in quality of place, how we can shape those investments in the future so that we can maximize and identify our future industrial clusters that we might have opportunities. As you know, we've kind of gone from band instruments through pharmaceuticals to RVs. You know, what are our future cluster opportunities? Obviously, we're very still focused around manufacturing, but can we break out of manufacturing? Do we have opportunities to move into additional clusters beyond that? And we're really looking at, from an economic development standpoint, how we can leverage the investments in this research for us to be smart, but also intentional in how we go about and build that entrepreneurial cluster and celebrate our history of entrepreneurism nationally as well, and build that reputation of our community as a place where talent wants to move to and entrepreneurs want to come to make their life better, and have the entrepreneurial success in our community.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I would like to move that we pass this on to the city council with a due pass recommendation from the finance
Second.
committee.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Would you read proposed ordinance 24-0-48 by title, please?
Proposed ordinance 24-0-48, an ordinance appropriating $1,500,000 from the ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund to the provision of government services account to upgrade the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system of City Hall.
Thank you. Is Jamie online to speak to this? Oh, Bradley's here to speak to this.
I apologize.
No problem.
So, Bradley Tracy, representing the Mayor's Office, Chief of Staff. Council members, I'm sorry I'm late. I was late. So, over a year ago, we had started having discussions about the need to update the heating and cooling system throughout City Hall. And at that time, we had some different groups come in and just analyze the situation to understand what we could and couldn't do. At one point in time, we were even considering moving all the piping and the entire situation new, and that would have taken City Hall to be closed for 6 months. So obviously, we've come up with a different solution since then. And excuse me, what we'd like to do is we're going to replace the water, everything but the pipes, basically. It will be updated. There will be additional thermostats placed in rooming. They're going to reevaluate some of the rooms. Like, for example, like in the mayor's office, for example, where 311 coordinator says is actually controlled by the controller's office. So it's a matter of readjusting and they're doing the study, which DLZ has done, and they're ready to make a request for a proposal. So we have all the specs, and they're going to do 3 different proposals with 3 different levels based on where it would be to make sure it doesn't exceed the amount of money we asked for, 1.5. And we feel confident we can get it done for that price and might be able to return some to another project if it so be. So this system hasn't, it's been updated in sections and never done the whole city, the whole building wide, and the boiler, outdoor air water unit, and then the thermostats, and some of the ductwork will all be changed and adjusted so it's more room friendly. So for example, that room over there can be air conditioned different than this room, and currently they share the same, which really doesn't make sense when you have 10 people here and you have 75 people here. It kind of makes it difficult to control both rooms at the same time. And one room always trumps the other. So, and like in this room, I think this room trumps that room. So it's kind of like, so it's just an update, and we feel confident that it's needed. We had DLZ do extensive research and down to the inch of every space in this facility and what the requirements are. So we'd ask for the ability to move forward on this project.
You got a question? Anything? How much disruption is that going to cause to City Hall?
I'm sorry, sir?
How much disruption is that going to cause to City Hall with redoing the HVAC system? Disrupting. Is it going to disrupt any city services?
Yeah, disrupt this facility, the building at a time. It's, we will be able to work and continue to work in this building throughout the entire process. No one will have to vacate their offices. Now, of course, there'll be people at various times, as you see now, in the different hallways and in the offices making some adjustments, but there will be no reason to close any department in this building.
Okay. And I guess when we do the council chambers, how much I guess that's a question for you. Let us know how much disruption that will be, so we can schedule our. I'm sorry, Bradley.
No, I get it.
Thank you. I didn't mean to get off the subject. Let me get a motion, but I want to come back to you.
I would move that we pass this with a do pass recommendation from the Finance Committee to the City Council.
I'll second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Now,
Before you, can I address what you're getting ready to ask?
Yes.
So
please.
the mayor and James and I and Jamie have sat down in the room and discussed the request from the council. about the carpeting, the chairs, and the additional things. I heard you ask those questions before. They are going to all be addressed, and you will be consulted before that happens.
All right, thank you.
We put in our spec that they work around current schedules so that it doesn't disrupt the council meetings, hopefully any meetings. If they rip up the carpet and do the channeling, we're going to try to design that on like a weekend or something to minimize disruption. I don't exactly know if there will be any disruption or not, but it won't limit this room for the council.
Okay, I mean, if it does, it does, but because what you're talking about doing is very important, so just give us a heads up, you know, we'll make it work.
Once it's awarded, we plan on looking at the calendars to try to find the best spots and times to do the critical mass of the work.
Thank you.
So, you're welcome.
Having no other business, the Finance Committee is adjourned.